Hello, this is Mr. Painter with another fabulous IXL tutorial. Today we're working on O.14, identify complementary, supplementary, vertical, adjacent, and congruent angles. So it seemed like a mouthful right there. That is 5 definitions that we're going to need to know for today. However, once you get to know the 5 definitions, you're going to be pretty much smooth sailing for the rest of the IXL. So before we jump into it and get a bunch wrong and get frustrated, it's going to be important to understand what the 5 definitions are and how to apply them. So we're going to go ahead and go over that in our notes on the right side. So on the right side, we got our first definition is congruent angles. Congruent angles is easy because that means it has the same measure. So if it's asking for a congruent angle to something, well, just find the next angle that matches that exactly. So the same degree of measure is what we're going to be looking for. Our next definition is we're looking at vertical angles. Vertical angles are formed opposite of each other when two lines have vertical angles that are congruent. So vertical angles are directly across from each other. And they also are congruent. Well, a little bit more on that in a little bit. Supplementary angles are an angle or a set of angles that add up to 180 degrees. So 180 degrees is basically a line. Complementary angles are angles that add up to 90 degrees. And a 90-degree turn is like making a left or right turn when you're driving. So, when your family is going left or your family is going right, it's half of a supplementary angle. And the last one is adjacent angles, which share a vertex and a side, but no interior points. All right, let's go ahead and use those definitions and get started and see how this goes for us. So our first question is asking, well, which angle is complementary to A, D, and B? Now let's understand what that's asking. All right, so our first step is going to be to highlight A, D, and B. So what that means is we're starting at A, going down to B, D, and up to B. So it kind of follows that line right there. So A to D to B. Now it's asking for a complementary. When we're talking about complementary, we need something that adds up to 90 degrees. Now, in blue, if I'm not mistaken, if ADC is 90 degrees, we would need to add angle BDC to add up to 90 degrees. So again, we're looking for the angle that is complementary. That means what else can we add to the red angle to get a total of 90 degrees? Because ADC is 90 degrees, and they already gave us A, D, and B. So it looks like we just need to add B, D, and C. So it looks like the first one works. ADC is already 90 degrees. That doesn't work. BDA, what does BDA? BDA is what they already gave us. And that's also the same thing as ADB. So by switching the letters, it's still the same angle. So that doesn't work. They just gave us that. And the last one, CDA. CDA is actually the same thing as D ADC. So they're the same thing. So we don't need that. So the only one that's going to be correct is BCD. So let's go ahead and apply that and see how that worked out. Here we go. BDC adds up to 90 degrees. Perfect. All right, on to our next problem. Which angle is vertical to 5? So angle vertical 5 is going to be this angle in here. Now, according to our definition on the right side, vertical angles are formed opposite of each other when two lines are, I believe I got something cut off there. Vertical angles are congruent. Okay, so what that means here is what is directly across it. So go across. Wait a minute. Angle 3 is directly across and it's congruent. So vertical angles are directly opposite of each other and congruent means exactly the same. So would you agree, besides the direction, that angle 5 is the same as angle 3? Absolutely. So angle 3 has to be our vertical angle to 5. All right, doing pretty good. 2 questions in, 19 smart score. Let's keep on rolling. All right, we're looking at the word congruent. So congruent is angle 1. So what we need to do is find a measure that matches angle 1. But if I'm not mistaken, vertical angles are always congruent. So I'm pretty sure if we go directly across and use angle 4, that's the same thing as angle 1. Besides going in the opposite direction, but it's the same opening. So angle 4 is going to be congruent. So congruent vertical angles, very similar. We're going to use that. All right, we got another one congruent to angle 2. So here we go. We got angle 2, which is right here. I'm going to apply the same strategy of vertical angles. So across from angle 2 is angle 5. Because again, it's directly across, and if they're directly across, they have to be the same because they share the same lines. So angle 5 is going to work on that one. Nice. All right, which angle is complementary to ADB? ADB, where's that? Start at A, go down to D, go over to B. Now, because complementary adds up to 90 degrees, we need to add another angle to make this true. So if D right here is already 90 degrees, well, what about adding A to D to C to give us a total of 90 degrees? So again, when it's asking for angle is complementary, it's asking for, well, what do you got to add to make that 90 degrees? So let's go through our options looking for like an ADC, or you can go opposite CDA. So first one is actually CDA. That one looks like it works. Let's see why these other ones might be wrong, just to make sure. We got angle BDA. Well, they gave that to us. And BDA is also the same as ADB. It's just opposite direction, but it's the same angle. So that definitely doesn't work. Then we got BDC. B to D to C. That's 90 degrees in itself. So we're trying to find that adds to 90 degrees. So no, that one doesn't work. And the last one is CDB. Well, CDB is the same thing as BDC in opposite order. It's the same angle. So the first one's the only correct angle that we can take. We're going to go ahead and use CDA. All right, next one. Which angles are complementary to each other? All right, so now we're going to check all 4 choices to see which one's correct. It looks like we can only pick one choice, which is good, but we'll try picking on multiple choices if we have to. It doesn't say select all, it just says which angles. All right, let's try red there, and I'll go blue here and see if they add up to 90. Here we go. First one, AD to B. We're trying to add up to 90 degrees. So A to D to B. Does that add to C, D to B? The answer is no, because if you notice that our red angle is already inside the blue angle. We want them to be next to each other, but not inside. So no, that one's not going to work. All right, let's go ahead and just go ahead and clear the selection. We'll go to the next one. Let's try CDA. We got C, D to A. Okay, that one's not looking too bad. And what about C, D, and B? C, D to B. Same problem again. The red angle opening is included as part as the blue angle opening. See, they overlap. So this area right here, see that I'm coloring in, that's included twice. We don't want that. That second one will not work. All right, what about the next one? We got A, D, and B. We got A to D to B. Okay, not bad. And what about B, D, C? B, D to C. Same problem. This area right here that's inside the red zone has been included twice. Don't want that. So the third one would also not work. And let's go ahead and hopefully it's the last one. What about A, D, B? A to D to B. All right. And what about C to D to A? Okay, perfect. We got this angle covered in blue, and we got this angle over here covered in red. Notice they do not overlap. And also take the area in blue, added to the area in red, it adds up to a total of 90 degrees. So absolutely the last one is the correct answer. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and submit that. Ooh, we want to go ahead and go back and actually select it first. I'm glad they give us that option because I really don't want to get it wrong, because when I get it wrong, it makes my score go down. So select it first, get our points, and there we go. All right, now it got a little more complicated. They gave us a whole bunch of lines. Believe it or not, in that whole diagram right there, there's only 4 lines. That's it. It's 4 lines. But 4 lines can cross in a lot of different ways. All right, so we are looking for the word congruent. Which angles are congruent to each other? So we're going to look for matching angles. And here with our selections right here. What about EBJ? So I'm going to highlight that. Where is my... Okay, so I got E to B to J. Well, the only angle that can be congruent is going to be the opposite, and it has to be F, B, and I. And I don't see an F or an I in there at all. Actually, I don't even... AEB? That's totally somewhere else. So the first one cannot be the right answer. Because again, congruent, we're looking for vertical angles in that case. So no on the first one. Let's go ahead and check the second one. We got LFC. Let's find it. We got LFC. So the only angle that could be congruent to LFC is vertical angle KFB. And again, they're giving us an AEB. In fact, where is AEB? I want to just look at it. Where is A, E, and B? No, doesn't work. Can't do that, okay? Because what happens is this line here and that line there are not parallel. So it's not going to work. And also these 2 lines here and line here are not parallel. So they have to be directly across from each other. So no, second one does not work. All right, next one. Got 2 more options. What about FCG? FC to G. Okay, now the only angle that can be congruent has to be H to C to E. So HCE. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So HCE is there. And that's the one we just did, which was FCG. So that one works. Now, I'm going to come back to that one and see what happened to the last one, because this is a good way of checking to see if I get it right or wrong. So this last one should technically be wrong. So FCG. And they're saying JBI. Ooh, I don't even know where that's going to be. Where is J on here? Way up here. JBI? No, look at the opening. JBI, the opening is way larger than FCG. So for sure it has to be the third one down. So we're going to go ahead and pick the last one we just did. All right. Here we go. Next one. Which angles are congruent to each other? So same concept, except they're giving us just the angle, which actually makes it easy for me. So look for angle 13. And congruent to angle 13 is the one directly above it, which is the vertical angle, is congruent to 15. So the first one's good. Let's just keep going with different colors here. What about angle 1? Angle 1 has to be congruent with 3. So because that 2 doesn't match the 3, that one's not right. Angle 14 has to be congruent to angle 16, which is directly across. They try to be sneaky. They forgot the 1. Because it's not a 1, it's not right. And the last one, angle 4 has to be congruent to angle 2. Because 2 is directly vertical of 4. So again, 11 is not the right answer. It is for sure the first one. So we're going to go ahead and pick the first one on that one. All right, next one. Which angles are supplementary to each other? So supplementary is our new one. We haven't done a supplementary yet, but we're looking for a 180 degrees. So we're looking for 2 angles that make a straight line. All right. What about CED? C, E to D. Well, the only angle that could be supplementary to CED is from D, E to A. So that would be D, E, and A. Huh, D, E, A. Because we have an F and a G there, that doesn't work. So the first one's not a correct answer. What about BEC? B, E to C. Huh. Actually, on this one, we're going to go back. Well, supplementary, you got to be careful because I just found out something right now. So by looking at this, if you look at CED is supplementary to DEA, well, that is one angle, but because DEA is adjacent to CEB, another correct answer that could have been on here is going to be CEB. A little bit more tricky. So again, because these are adjacent angles in the same opening, they would also add up to 180. But again, because it's an F and a G, the first one's still not right. Okay, now going back on BEC, the two angles that would be congruent to that would be either going back to CED or BEA because they're congruent in the same angle and they would add up to 90 degrees, add up to 180 degrees. So, what are they doing? HBE? They're talking about way down here, HBE? No way. Can't be the second one. Getting kind of crowded. We're going to clear the screen. Angle number 3, CED. CED. And does that work with DEA? I believe that one does because we did that one right at the beginning. So DEA was DEA. Now here's that 180 degree. The bottom of this red line here follows the bottom of that orange line there. Therefore, the purple line is 180 degrees, and that's the supplementary angle we're looking for. So the third one's good. And the last one, FBG, FB to G, and they are saying DEA, which is way up here, DEA. No, doesn't work. So therefore, the third one will be our correct solution. All right, 9 questions in, 64. Vertical angles, so we're just looking for angles that are directly across. So this one's actually easier than supplementary because supplementary is looking for 180. There's 2 possibilities, but vertical angles, you're just the one directly across. So, vertical angle HCF. HCF. And they are saying GCE. GCTE. That looks good. I don't see anything wrong with that. So first one looks like a good possibility. But let's see what's wrong with the other 3 because there's a reason why they put them on there. And also if you find the 3 that are wrong, you know the first one's right. So we got AEB. AEB. Then they're saying, well, that's vertical to FCG. FCG. No, they're not across from each other. They don't connect the same vertex. Vertex means angle. So we're looking for the same vertex, which is the vertex is here and here. So C and E aren't the same. It's not going to work on this one. Only because these 2 lines here are not parallel. If they were parallel, it'd be a different story. But they're not parallel. The second one down does not work. All right. Let's clear the screen. Let's go to the third one. All right. JBH. JBH. And they're saying that's vertical to IBJ. IBJ. No, so IBJ is supplementary to JBH. These are supplementary angles, the third one, but they're not vertical angles. So therefore it doesn't work. All right, last one. Let's try IBJ, and GCE. So G, looking for it. Where is it at? There it is, up here. GCE. No, same problem. They don't share vertexes, so no. So the first one is correct for sure. I know we spent a lot of time reviewing the ones that weren't right, but it is cool to understand why things work the way they do work. So first one, we're going with it on this one. Smart score 68. Besides me doing a lot of explaining, this one really isn't that bad. All right. Angle supplementary to 1. So angle 1 is right here. It's 90 degrees. So because we're looking for an angle that's supplementary, we're looking for an angle that's going to add up to 180 degrees. So the one next to it, 2, would make a 180 degree line, and 180 degree line is just a straight line. So we're going to use angle 2 to make this one true. All right, next one. Which angle is adjacent to A, B, and D? All right, so A, B, D, let's take a look at it. A to D to B. All right, so looking at our definition to the right side, adjacent angles share a vertex and a side, but no interior points. So we can share this side right here. Let's go ahead and change the color up on that. So we could share that side there, but the only really other direction we can go is actually to C. So I'm going to say on this one, I'm going to go B, D to C to call that adjacent. So here we go. B, D to C. All right, next question. We got which angle is complementary to angle AFB? So first of all, let's identify AFB. AFB. Well, we're looking for complementary, which means 90 degrees. So the only one that could work is BFC. Now you could also say, let's write this down. Let's do BFC, but you could also do it in reverse order and say that it's CFB. So either one of those would be correct answers because it's the same angle. All right, so let's plug in B, F, and C. And lowercase is fine. You don't have to capitalize it. Okay, last question, and we should push into 80 at this point. All right. So what angle is vertical to angle 5? So first of all, what is angle 5? Vertical means angles opposite of each other. So the only angle that's opposite of angle 5 is angle 2. So for a smart score of 80, a score of 2, or an answer of 2 is going to take us to a score of 81. Woohoo! And this concludes your IXL tutorial. 14 questions later. Not bad, but have an excellent day.